My name is Buzzy Jackson, and this is the story of how I came to write my book, Shaking the Family Tree. I spent 7 years getting a PhD in American history, but when I had a baby, I realized that the only history I knew was other people's history. I knew hardly anything about my own family. My mom's side of the family is Jewish. They came to the United States in the early 20th century from what's now the Ukraine. My dad's side is the Jacksons. Jackson is the 20th most common surname in the United States, which doesn't make it any easier to trace their history. I had no idea how long the Jacksons had been in North America or where they came from. I looked at my son and wondered, where did he get those eyes? His love of music, his taste for adventure. And finally, I asked the questions we all eventually ask ourselves. Who am I, and where do I come from? So I started looking. I traveled to Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Mormon Church has collected billions of genealogical records in its family history library. I found over 100 books on American families named Jackson, but I didn't know if I was related to any of them. I traveled to Michigan, where I interviewed my oldest living relative, Great-Aunt Selma, and visited my grandparents' graves. I even bought a ticket for a genealogy cruise. We sailed right past Ellis Island, where my ancestors had arrived almost a century earlier. I met professional genealogists and learned some research skills. I even visited Caribbean cemeteries, but I didn't find any ancestors there. I had to go to the American South for that. I brought Cousin Mooner along for the ride through Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. We found a lot of food. We found a lot of relatives. We found our family homestead. We found documents in the local library. And after a lot of searching, we finally found our ancestors in an abandoned Alabama cemetery. Some of their graves dated back before the Civil War. We discovered that we were related to a family of Jacksons from colonial Virginia. Our family had been in this country for 400 years. I wish I'd known that back in grad school when I was studying the 13 colonies. For the first time, I felt as if I were a part of that history. At least now my son will know. He'll know he's related to these people, and even these people. Shaking the Family Tree, Blue Bloods, Black Sheep, and Other Obsessions of an Accidental Genealogist.